everyone, today I'm going to show you how to model this simple fork inside of Blender. This is going to be a beginner's tutorial for people who have not used Blender and would like an easy and simple way to get started. This tutorial is going to be focusing on hard surface modeling, and we're also going to be using the subdivision surface modifier. Let's get started. For this tutorial, we'll be starting with our basic default cube, so do not delete it. I'm going to drag over my tools window over here, and I'm going to scale my cube along the z-axis. I'm also going to scale it so that it's smaller, and I'm going to bring it upwards. Let's scale it a little bit more along the z. Let's make it thinner on the x and y. Like this. Ooh, it's too skinny. I'm using my pen, so sometimes it's hard to get it exactly where you want it. Next, I'm going to go into edit mode, grab my face selection. I'm going to grab my top face, extrude it upwards using my E key. I'm going to scale it along the Y so that it's wider by hitting S and Y. And then I'm going to hit my E key again to extrude it up even more. Right about there. Next, I need to add loop cuts so that I can add the tines to my fork. The long, pointy sticks that come up on the fork are called the tines. I had to learn that today because I was calling them prongs. And I knew that was incorrect. Okay, we need 6 loop cuts because we need 4 tines. Math people. Let's try to make sure that they are evenly spaced. If it's not perfect, it's okay. I doubt you guys are adding a fork to your portfolio, but if you are, you can go back and you can make sure that they are perfect. This pen is like outrageous. This pen, like when I go to lift it up, it like moves it ever so slightly more. It's frustrating. Okay, so let's add some more like this. Beautiful. I'm going to grab my face selection and my box select tool, and I'm going to grab 4 of the top faces and extrude them upwards using the E key. And I want it to be about that long. About that long looks good. Next, I'm going to scale the tips, and it's going to cause them to go towards the center because out of all of your selections, whatever you have selected, the origin is going to be placed in the center of them. So since I have all 4 of these faces selected, the origin is going to be about right here. And so when I scale it like this, they're all going to move towards that center. And I only want to do that just slightly. Now I want to come up here to where these 2 circles are, and I want to switch to individual origins because I want to scale just the tip where it is. And that's going to scale them as if they each have their own individual origin. I'm going to add a loop cut to the center right here and scale it so that it's a little bit smaller. I actually just want to scale it along the Y. I'm going to hit S and Y to scale it a little bit along the Y. So re-grab that base, and I'm going to make it larger on the Y. Because I actually want the base of my fork. Bring it up a little bit. I actually want the base of my fork to be a little bit wider than the rest of the handle. Next, I'm going to grab this edge again, and I'm going to move that one downwards. I like right there, looks good. We also want our whole entire fork to be pretty thin, so let's go ahead and go to our face select and hit A, and let's scale it on the X. So it's a little bit more thin like this. I'm going to go to my edge select again, and I'm going to add another loop right here, and I'm going to make that even smaller. That looks good. I'm going to scale it on the X just so that it's even with the rest of the width of the rest of our fork. Let's get out of our loop cut selection. You see how it's creating that bar right there? It's because I keep forgetting that I have loop cut applied. Let's go to our box select and grab the base. And scale the base on the X so that it's the same width. Oops. We have all the rest of that selected. Scale it on the X so that it's the same width as the rest of the fork. There we go. Now let's add another loop cut to the center right here. And grab our box select and grab the whole entire top part of your fork. There we go. Okay, now let's rotate our fork a little bit. I'm going to go into my side view and rotate so that it gets that bend that it so desperately needs, that all forks have. Grab the top. I'm going to rotate that a little bit more. And then we can move it forward some. That way our fork has that nice bend. Okay, now we are going to apply our subdivision surface modifier. If you come over here to your tool panel, you'll see a wrench. You'll want to select Add Modifier, Subdivision Surface Modifier, and it will create a cage around your mesh or a boundary box to show the original mesh before the subdivision surface modifier was applied. You don't want to hit apply yet because we're not done messing with it, but I do want to raise my subdivision level to 3 and my render subdivision level to 4. I'm going to stay in edit mode and fix up my fork a little bit. I'm going to add some loop cuts to the top of each of my tines, making sure that they're as even as possible. And to the bottoms. We also want to add one to our handle where the neck is and to the base. We need to also apply one to the center so that our fork can hold its thickness. Most forks that I have been seeing have this center loop going down a little bit further than the ones on the outside, so let's go ahead and try to create that. I'm going to go into my face mode and select the center face, and I'm going to move it downwards. Let's go into object mode and check out our fork. Looks pretty good. I'm going to shorten my handle a little bit because it looks a little bit too long. I'm going to go to edit mode, box select, Grab the entire base. Not that much of it though. There we go. There we go, it looks a little bit better. I'm also going to add another loop along the middle, just so that my fork has a little bit more shape. Go back to box select, grab the top line, scale that along the Y. About right there. Go to object mode. Check out your sweet fork. I'm going to go back to edit mode and I'm going to grab this row of my edge so I can bring it out because I wasn't liking how it was bending inwards like that. There we go. That might look a little bit better. Let's check it out. And that looks better. Cool. I like it. Looks good, looks good. Looks like a fork. Looks like something I can eat with at the dinner table. Looks like the fork in my kitchen. Only it's not metallic. Let's add materials to it. Go to your tool panel here on the side. Select this little sphere. Make sure that your use nodes is selected so you get all these sweet options right here. Let's turn up the metallicness of our sweet fork. And let's turn down the roughness just a pinch. And let's give it a base color of silver because forks are silver. Is that too dark? Does that look too dark? Let's make it like that. Cool. Alright, let's turn up the metallic again because it turned itself down. I don't know why. Now I'm going to come over here to my camera in my tools panel and I'm going to select ambient occlusion. Turn on my bloom. Change the color of my bloom. And then I'm going to come down to my world and I'm going to change the color to be a little bit darker. I don't want it to be completely black because then it'll be too hard to see the fork. And now I'm going to add in some lights. I'm going to add in a point light to the front of my fork. And I'm going to add another one to the back of my fork. I'm going to select my light in my tool panel and I'm going to change the color of it. I want the back color to be a little bit red. I want this front color to be a little bit yellow. And I want this lower color down here to be blue. I'll bring it up a little bit too. And that is how you create a simple fork inside of Blender. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this beginner tutorial. Hopefully it helped you to learn how to do basic hard surface modeling as well as how to use the subdivision surface modifier. And I'll see you guys in the next one.